Welcome to my kitchen table. I decided I wasn't going to film this one in the kitchen and would have a different view. So today what I want to show you is milk kefir. I want to show you how to make it. Basically, it is one of the easiest, the highest probiotic foods that you can get. If you do one ferment and that's the only ferment you ever do, I highly recommend you do milk kefir. Now, if you can't do dairy, that is okay. You can still make milk kefir, but you can use alternative milks like your coconuts and all of that sort of stuff. I make a batch of coconut kefir as well, but I can tolerate goat's milk, particularly fermented goat's milk. So what I do is I tend to make quite a bit of the goat's milk kefir and then also the coconut kefir, and I interchange between the two. But the process of doing it is exactly the same. You've just got to remember, when you're using an alternative milk, you do have to take your grains back to a milk with lactose in it at some point so that they can thrive and survive. Because what the kefir grains does is they eat the lactose, the sugars in your milk, and that's what ferments it. So I have here an already fermented goat's milk. Now, I don't know if you can see, but it is starting to split, which means it's turning into curds and whey. And that splitting means that the ferment is ready to be strained and consumed, and it's ready for your next batch. So this has been on my bench for 24 hours, but it depends on your temperature within your house. So here it's been rainy and drizzly recently, so it hasn't been as warm in the house, even though we are in spring and coming into summer. But it will ferment faster. The warmer your house, the faster it'll ferment. So if you live in a pretty warm climate, you may find that your ferment is done in 4 to 6 hours rather than 12 to 24 hours. And that is perfectly okay. It is all temperature related. So I have my fermented goat's milk, and I'm going to put it into this jar, and I just have one of these, I don't know what they're called. They're not a strainer, they're I don't know, a jar. It helps put things in jars without it spilling out everywhere. I love it. I use it for everything. And then I've got myself a strainer. And I always use a soup spoon, but you can use whatever you like. So what we're going to do, because this has our kefir grains in it, we're just going to pour it through and sieve out all the kefir grains and reuse them. Now, making kefir is also one of the easiest ferments. It is not just only the best probiotic ferment that you can do, but it is also one of the easiest, because your time that you take to actually have to make this is probably about 5 minutes a day. That's it, just 5 minutes. So I'm just going to make sure I strain all of the milk out, and all I'm left is the kefir grains. Now I'll show you these grains. Look at them. So they're the kefir grains, and they're going to go back into the old jar. And then what we're going to do is we're going to top this jar back up with some more goat's milk and put it on the bench to ferment for tomorrow's batch. That'll be enough for those amount of grains. Now also, if you, let's say this is enough for you for a few days and you don't want to ferment anymore, still put them back in milk and put them in the fridge. That slows down the fermentation process and it keeps them for longer. So you won't have to change them over quite as often. So we go through a fair bit of kefir, so I am just going to put that back on my bench and do this same process again tomorrow. Now with the stuff that we've just strained the kefir grains out of, and we have just a plain milk kefir here, you can eat that exactly how it is. You can put it in the fridge, chill it, you can consume it warm. It doesn't matter, that's fine. I like to do a second ferment with a lot of my milk kefirs. It changes the flavor. It also adds some more probiotics to it. So you can use things like organic lemon, organic lime, orange, the zests of all of those, and just put some into your milk kefir, give it a stir, put your lid on and put it in the fridge. You can add other things like strawberries and blueberries, blackberries, you name it, you can pretty much add it. Mangoes. I've never tried watermelon, and I've heard kiwi fruit. I have read somewhere that kiwi fruit is not good for second ferments. I can't remember whether it's because of the acidity or there's something in kiwi fruits that doesn't bode well for using it in a fermented product for a second ferment. But today what I'm going to show you is I'm just going to do a date and vanilla, which is, it comes out like a beautiful, nice vanilla yogurt. I have here, I've halved a fairly large date, so I'm only going to use one, and I'm going to plop that in. I'm going to get my vanilla extract and I'm just going to put a little dash in. And then with the spoon that I use to separate, I'm just going to give it a mix through. And then I'm going to pop that in the fridge, and that'll be ready for me for tomorrow morning. So that is actually how easy it is to make milk kefir. I hope this helped you guys out some. Milk kefir is honestly the fastest and easiest fermented food you could ever make. There are so many other different ways on using your milk kefir rather than just a yogurt. And I will start filming more of those things that I use my milk kefir for, and start putting them up for you guys. So stay tuned, keep watching out, and I'll give you more ideas on how to use your milk kefir in the future. Big hugs, guys. Until next time.